What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a new video. As you can see, my surroundings have changed. I'm in a new truck and at a new company. It's called Custom Commodities Transport and will henceforth be just referred to as Custom. And the truck I'm in is a 2019 Peterbilt 389. And everybody likes to see truck tour videos, so I figured we'd just get that out the way first. So that's what today's video is going to be, a truck tour. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get started. Let's start with the outside. And one thing I wanted to point out on the back, remember how I used to have to go to the tank wash and get steam heat? Well, this one has in-transit heat. You see this hose? It runs coolant from the engine to the trailer, and if the load's already warm, it'll maintain it. You just hook it up to those nipples right there, and it'll circulate that hot coolant and keep the load warm. So no steam heat needed. And then the pump, remember I had that drive shaft and the air compressor? We used the truck's air compressor here, and there's the pump on the truck. Remember at the other place, the pumps were on the trailers, and I just had a drive shaft that attached to the trailer. Well, here's the actual pump on the truck. You hook the inlet is on the bottom, and the outgoing line is on the discharge line is on the top. All right, let's open the hood. First thing you notice is just how wide open it is. This must be a mechanic's dream. There's just so much room to access everything under the hood. And by the way, it's a Cummins, 500 horsepower. I don't know if y'all knew, but when you look at the horsepower, if it ends in a 0, it's an efficiency series Cummins. If it ends in a 5, it's a performance series. So 500 is efficiency. If it was 505, it would be a performance series. Get it? The other thing you wouldn't notice from my Mac is those air cleaners on the side, and you see the piping, the black hose that's going across the top. All right, so this is the hot side of the engine, and that leads to the turbo right there. That's where those air breathers go into to feed the turbo. And the cool thing, like I said, that's the back of the engine by the firewall. In most trucks, the back of the engine is sort of tucked into or behind the firewall. You get to it from inside of the truck. And another thing to point out is the height of the hood. Now, I'm about 6 feet tall, and in these work boots, I'm probably 6'1", and that's what, 3 or 4 inches above the top of my head. So you're talking about 6 feet 6 inches high. Pretty cool. Inside the truck, what do you notice first? Look how close the seats are together. They are like, it's so hard to pass in between them. And the dash is just plain Jane, no digital dash yet. This is a 2019. I think the 2024 models have the digital dash. And what else is new? 13 speed. I'm shifting again. No more automated transmission. So stay tuned. There will be a shifting video coming. Actually, I've already filmed it. So. And then just a little bit of storage up top. That was just like my old Mac. In the back, better than the Mac here. I've got the nice closet. That's where the refrigerator goes, but this truck doesn't have a refrigerator. And then some small cubby holes. The other side is the mirror image of it. Same thing. Now there's a door. The last driver, this couillon, he took the door off for no reason. And instead of putting the screws to the door like in a little plastic bag and putting them in a cubby hole, he just threw them away like, no, nobody will need those. I'm like, come on, man. I want to put that door back up anyway. And that's the other thing. Watch your head. Look how hard it is to get from the back to the front with the seats being so close together. I'll get used to it though, don't worry. Well, that's about it for the truck tour. This is my home for the foreseeable future. Just got to make some adjustments and get used to it. But all in all, I like the truck, and I think we're going to run a lot of miles together. Well, that's it for the video today. I hope you enjoyed the truck tour. And for those of you not sticking around for story time, thank you for watching this much, and I hope to catch you on the next one. For those of you who are sticking around for story time, let's do story time. In keeping with the theme of the video today, talking about Peterbilt 389s, I have a story about one. I was driving a Volvo at the time, okay? I had to park for the night at a truck stop in Green River, Utah, middle of the desert, basically. And I backed next to a Peterbilt 389. And the driver was sitting in the driver's seat. It was this lady driver, just like chain smoking cigarettes, you know. This is me pantomiming smoking a cigarette. I've never smoked a cigarette a day in my life. Some people hold their thumb out, some people tuck it in. So I rolled down my window, I said, "Hey," and she looks, I said, "Is it okay for Volvos to park here?" She goes, "No, you gotta move." Now, for those four-wheeler drivers out there who might not understand the subtext of why she said that, remember when I did the video about how certain groups of drivers think they're better than other drivers, right? Like if you are a flatbedder, you might think you're better than somebody who does dry van. Or if you're a tanker driver like me. I don't get into all of that. But there's another hierarchy. And the people who drive the Peterbilt 389s, they think they're on top of the food. If you pull up in a Volvo, they're like, you know, a Volvo driver. Down there, equal to the Volvo is the Freightliner Cascadia. But if you're in a Peterbilt 389 or maybe a Kenworth W900, you think you're, you know what, don't stink, is the sort of the stereotype. That's why I asked her that and why it was funny. On a related note, I was in that same Volvo and I was on a CB with a guy, I think he was in a 389 or a W900, one of the two trucks I mentioned earlier. And we were talking, I can't remember what he was driving, but it was one of those. I remember where I was though. I was on I-84 in Idaho near Bliss, Idaho. I always love passing through Bliss, Idaho because it reminds me of Alexa Bliss. Anyway, we were talking and I said something about my old W900. He goes, "What made you switch to a Volvo?" I said, "Well, the company I was with, first of all, they took the W900 away because they switched to Kenworth T680s, the aerodynamic ones." And I said, "But that was another company." And, you know, he was like, "Oh, man, yeah, I couldn't imagine going from a W900 to a Volvo." It's like people in that frame of mind, they're like, "What? You know, why would you ever do that to yourself?" And the last story on that same topic, piggybacking, I was in that same Volvo and I just mentioned being on the CB and there was two guys talking and I cut in, breaker 19 type of thing. All right, I need to get over, but this guy needs to merge. He's just gonna have to get behind me. Together we can make it happen as long as everybody knows their role. So I mentioned the Volvo, I mentioned the CB. There was two super truckers chatting and I come up behind them. That Volvo was governed to 70, so I could kind of keep up with some guys. So I got in, I forget what we were talking about. They were looking around for who was the other truck talking. They thought because I was in a Volvo, I couldn't have a CB or I wouldn't have a CB. And they're like, "Where are you, driver?" I was like, "I'm right behind you." Like, quite literally right behind me. They're like, "Oh, the Volvo." And again, the subtext was, what's a Volvo driver doing talking on a CB? So anyway, that's three little stories for you about 389s and Volvos and this mentality of certain truckers. That's really what the stories are about, the mentality there. Okay, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to catch you on the next one. And until the next one, it's Jason signing out.